the way. We're here.
Hi.
Hi. Just panic noises.
Yeah. Look out. I don't know what you're looking out for, but just look out, just in general.
Just look out in general. That's right, because today what we're talking about is the concept of fear.
Yeah.
Like the
what is it?
entirety of it. I think you're more
What's the
experienced.
deal with fear?
I think you're more experienced and knowledgeable about fear than me. Considering you literally have a thing called Nightmare Witch. Oh.
Yeah, so So fear, talk a little bit about fear. I used to watch well, I still do, but I pretty much grew up on horror movies. My mom and my dad, they were always watching something like that. Just all the time, just demons, ghosts, monsters, what have you. And then also like the messed up like body horror stuff. And then I'm just like, I'm gonna run away and hide under my blanket. There was my I have a vivid memory of my parents. They were watching the Blair Witch Project.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And I was like, I don't know, 12? Something like that. Maybe even younger. Whenever, like, it was around when it came out, the Blair Witch Project. So I was probably pretty young. And I remember being so fucking scared. And then, while I'm sitting there, watching this scary thing,
Ryan Reynolds, and I'm here with Keith, co-star of my...
the lights go out.
Hmm.
Like a breaker got tripped somewhere. Just basically weather, just whole house blackout, and I fucking bolt. I am running to the safest place in the world, which is under my covers in my bed.
As one does.
And my brother, who's a little bit older than me, he was on like the top bunk. And I guess I don't know, maybe he ran too, but he just didn't admit it to me. But he like had a flashlight and he just like pointed it down the hallway, which I'm thankful for, because running in the dark is not a good move. You could trip and hurt yourself. But yeah, I have this memory of and that, I think, is one of those instances where just like something gets under your skin. Blair Witch Project was like the first of the whole like found footage movies just in general, so there were a lot of people that just believed it was real, which is funny these days, because it's like, okay, well, how is that like, come on, dude. But like back in the day, there were a lot of people who didn't know, and like it really was like really ahead of its time, because the found footage stuff and the like analog horror and all that didn't really catch on till like later, but like Blair Witch had the whole, like, they had a website with like fake news articles and like they did the whole spiel pretty early, all things considered, and it worked on me as a little baby. But the kind of fear that I think a lot of what I do with something like Nightmare Witch is less this kind of like very visceral fear and more of kind of just like a creeping existential dread. Just kind of like a mounting feeling of like powerlessness, of like just emptiness that just kind of permeates and builds, and like I think that a lot of and how that kind of pushes people to do things and act in ways that are scary. I think with Nightmare Witch, like that, like the fear is kind of what fear does to people and less about like, you know, uh less about necessarily scaring like there are parts where, you know, it could be scary. You know, there's a little bit of body horror stuff. There's a little bit of you know, stuff that may kind of trigger these fears in people. But like ultimately the whole message of that thing, the comic, the whole story is just, it's not just the fears, it's kind of what the fears do to people, and kind of how it influences you and how it influences others. And that's scary in its own right. Who knew? Fear itself is also scary. Just as a concept, which is interesting. But yeah, so I think that I tend to go less into like, here is this specific like terrifying act or monster or thing, although I am kind of circling around back to that, but we can talk about that in a bit. But yeah, so that is my familiarity. That's kind of like one of those memories that sticks out to me, and that's kind of how I'm employing it as a concept in Nightmare Witch. But what about you? Your history with fear?
My history with fear. I don't really know how much or how well to describe it. It's not something I've clearly defined in my own brain of like what makes me fearful or not. Like some things I at least identified that makes me fearful of things. Like,
oh yeah, you don't.
yeah,
I
'cause
mean, yeah, you don't have to like get into specific like these are the things that terrify me, but
I
like
mean, like
if you feel
what
good doing that.
terrifies me, like I feel like can also terrify like a lot of other people as well. You know, like the
Yeah.
distorted faces and like
Yeah.
in some media and such. Like that's what really like terrifies me of the uncanniness of things, of being crossing the realm of like reality versus fiction. You know.
Yeah.
Sell to millions of people online with Shopify.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. The
but,
whole.
but yeah, but to be honest, it's just not as clearly defined as me. I find myself very much drawn in to like horror concepts of any kind because it is just like I don't know. I don't think appealing is the word. It's just fascinating to me that such pieces of media can even exist when it comes to like horror genres and other such. Like
Oh,
hell,
I get that.
even for like the Blair Witch. I didn't even watch the movie. I didn't even watch the movie. I literally like saw a video with my brother basically of who's most like what people could have done in the movie to actually come out alive instead of the stupid decisions that they made in the movie.
Yeah.
And that was enough for the Blair Witch Project to get me still. I didn't do any further looking into, but that still is enough to like to know the concept of it without watching the whole movie. Freaked me out.
Yeah, it is fascinating. Like there's plenty of videos about like specifically the advertising campaign and how they kind of like seeded the story about these like missing kids, and like they really did do the whole like analog horror thing. It is interesting, but yeah, like I think the whole uncanny valley thing. That's one of those deeply rooted things. It just kind of hits you.
Mm, for sure. If anything, I think that's also why it's just fascinating when it crosses over to like reality of it seeming believable. Of like
Mm.
the fact that a piece of media can make you uncomfortable is what fascinates me. Because
Yeah.
I am under the firm belief that so long as like a piece of media or art makes you feel something, that is a job well done. Especially in pieces of media that are supposed to make you uncomfortable and it's not all sunshine and rainbows of it looking so pretty and such.
Yeah, no, like when I was younger, I definitely would spend a lot of time, um, like online, like looking at like creepy pastas and things that I know are gonna like stick in my head and make it hard for me to sleep. But
Mhm.
I'm still like the curiosity just pulls me in.
You know what's funny? I
Uh,
actually never got into like the creepy pastas or anything like that. I
well,
only heard about
as
them in
a
passing.
as a crotchety old man, they used to be better. They used to be better. Kids these days don't know.
Oh, really, old man? Tell me how they used to be better.
The truth is they didn't really. I just got older.
It just got old and grouchy for a second.
Yeah. I just got older. I mean, like I remember there was a period of time where probably like late teens, maybe early 20s, where I would like look at the new stuff coming out and I'd be like, this is lame. It used to be so much scarier. And then like you actually look back and it's like, oh, here's this like doll and it's got like real eyes. Whoa. And you're like, well, okay, that doesn't hit as hard as it used to. I still remember this one about like, I don't remember the creepy pasta exactly, but it was like, I think it was like someone in the woods and like something's going down, like something creepy's happening. So they go and they like hide in this cabin, and there's all these weird paintings of like people like posing, and but they're all like facing in towards the cabin. Uh, and that it's just like detailing this like really creepy cabin in these paintings and whatever. And then the person wakes up the next morning and discovers that all those things that he thought were paintings were actually windows. Um, and as like a kid, I'm like, whoa, my mind is blown. I didn't see that one coming. But yeah, that's
Mind
that
blown.
yeah, that was one of those that like stuck with me as like a little baby. Um, and there is something kind of cool about it, and there is like it's they pull the rug out from under you. It's like, oh, like you thought nobody was looking back, but they actually were. It's the kind of like, my brother is terrified of aliens. Like the gray aliens, like that, like as a creature, he's terrified of
Yeah,
them.
that's
Um,
great.
I'm not as much, but there is a specific kind of fear to them that does get to me. Have you ever had like have you ever had your curtains open and it's dark outside but it's light inside, and you look at the window and you can't, it's like a veil, because of reflection from the light inside, you can't see anything outside of the window, but
Mhm.
everybody outside of the window can see you perfectly.
Mhm.
Like, that is creepy as fuck. Like,
That's why I have blinds and not curtains.
yeah, yeah, no, I mean, it's such a simple thing, but just the fact, because it's like it's ingrained in you. So whenever I see that. I mean, even today, it's like creepy because of that fact. Because like I can't see outside, but everybody can see me.
Mm.
So anything could be watching me, and that's fucking creepy.
Hmm.
So yeah, having some good blinds, having some that helps. There was this one time, my brother's friend pranked me. I think he pranked me, or we were both scared. But for some reason, my brother's friend was staying the night, and my brother had gone to bed, and I think we were playing like I was playing games with my brother's friend, playing PlayStation, all that, and we both go back to. So at the time, me and my brother shared a bedroom. We had bunk beds. It was cool. It was sick. We both go back to the room, and the blinds are completely pulled up. So it was kind of that thing of like, oh, it's dark outside, and no, but like I didn't see anybody pull the blinds up. I didn't see that. So like I immediately terrified, and my brother's friend is also kind of terrified. So like I don't know if it was a prank or not, or if we just did that and didn't remember. But we like hid until like the morning when my like parents woke up, and then like kind of pretended like nothing happened.
I don't think I have anything like that. Like, the most I have is probably me scarring two of my friends at a sleepover. Not at the same time. There were different instances. Okay, so one was with a horse mask. I'm not sure if I told you about that.
Oh yeah, you told me about the horse mask.
Yeah, to recap for those coming
Yeah.
in later now. Basically it was my birthday party. I was trying to get my friend up, like trying to get everyone up because it was like kind of noonish. I don't remember, and we kind of made it as like a challenge to like stay up as long as we could. But I kind of couldn't because my mom was like, "Hey, no, don't do that." But I didn't stop my other friends from doing that, so they were tired as hell. I probably forgot to mention that before. But as a way for me to get them up, I got a horse mask that we had already had, and started like using that to like spook my friends a little bit of like, oh, random horse. What the fuck is this? Thing is, I kind of accidentally scarred my friend for life of like horse masks after that. Not everyone, just one person. And he was like screaming and like flailing the entire time, and I didn't think anything of it because he's just like, I didn't think he'd genuinely be scared of it. But now he is, and he hates it to all holy hell.
Damn. Moral of the story: Star is fear. Watch out.
Oh yeah, by the way, you can call me Robin. You don't have to call me by my name.
Okay. All right.
It's up to
I
you.
will call you. No, that's I will call you Robin.
Thank you.
No problem. No problem.
Good luck.
Yeah, Robin is fear. So watch out out there.
Robin is fear. Yes, yes.
You can show up with a horse mask, and then you're screwed.
Funnily enough, I think like a while after that, I did go in a Halloween costume with like a horse mask and try to wear brown clothes, with my brother wearing a Shrek mask. Fun times. Fun times. Anyway. The other instance was I had two of my close friends over, like him and his little sister. And we were basically just watching like random videos on the internet. And being the dumb little kids that we were watching like, I don't know, FNAF complication
Mm.
like compilations of like random animations and stuff. I think it was done by Pymation or someone else. I don't remember. But there was this one scene of like the security guards' arms being torn off by the animatronics because animatronics, murdering you.
Mm.
But since it was an animation, it was right there and it was very cartoony. And me and my friend didn't think anything of it. But I kind of scarred my friend's little sister.
Oh.
And she had a nightmare the following night of her mom's arm being torn off the same way.
Oh.
And I'm like, huh? What? She was genuinely terrifying because it was another sleepover. She basically stuck close to my mom, and my mom comforting her, having no idea what the fuck she means.
Yeah.
The fact that, what do you mean you watched an animation of like some dude's arm being ripped off? Huh? But she's a lot older now that she got over it.
Yeah.
So if anything,
Yeah.
she kind of finds it hilarious now and looks back at the animation like fondly. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
good, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like when you're a kid, it's a lot more vivid, and you make those connections, like having a nightmare about your mom's arm, because it's like you don't see the fiction as like you know it's fiction, but you can't just like passively enjoy it, like
Mm.
like watching a movie or something. Like it sticks with you a little bit more when you're older. It's still scary, but you can differentiate in how it kind of like it doesn't have a lasting effect on you in the sense that like it's a movie, or it's like created by someone. It's not like real, and it's not, most likely it's not gonna happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
There is a potential, which creates the fear in the first place, but you're able to kind of rationalize a little bit better than when you're a kid. When you're a kid, you're like, this could happen and this will happen, and it's fucked, but when you're older, you're like, yeah, this could happen, probably won't. It could, which is creepy, but it probably won't. So you're able to kind of like walk yourself back. It may take some time, but you're able to do that.
Mm.
But yeah, it's palpable. It's a little more palpable when you're younger. I think when you're older, you still have them, but
Mhm.
not quite as long lasting. When I got another anecdote for you, another creepy instance.
Mm.
Me and my friends, I don't remember when this was. It was probably like, I know it was after high school, so I wasn't like super young or anything. Me and my friends were like walking through the woods at night, as you do.
Mm.
And we were going, I know like all the paths and stuff because I lived pretty close. And I'd go there to think and to write poetry, as I do. But yeah, I'd go there often, so I kind of knew the paths, and I knew that there was this one path. There was like a second half to the park that like people didn't really go to as often, because in order to get there, you had to go like in through this tunnel, and it's kind of gross. So like if you're just jogging, you're not you're just gonna be like, well, I'm not gonna go through this tunnel. But if you're exploring, it's viable. And I remember like I used to do this an incredible amount of time, like by myself, which is the weird thing because I think I'm more scared of doing that now than I was back then. Like I'm more scared. So it was out of sheer stupidity that I would go to this park at like 1 a.m. and just like walk around. Uh
Hmm.
but we're going through this tunnel. It's like me and like 3 other friends and we're talking and I think we're talking about like the topic came up of well it's kind of creepy, but because it was like a group of us, we weren't like super scared, like it was, you're just hanging out. But we start to get closer to the other end of the tunnel, to the exit of the tunnel, and right before we are out of the tunnel, I hear some kind of animal outside of the tunnel, and it sounded like it was like right above the tunnel. Like it sounded like if we were to leave the tunnel, it would be right over our heads.
Mm.
And the sound was not familiar to me. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what kind of animal it was. I had never heard something that sounded like that before in my life. And so what I did, right after that happened, there was like a second of silence. And then I was just like, okay, we'll go the other way. We just turn around and go back through the fucking tunnel. And to this fucking day, I have no idea what the fuck that thing was. I couldn't even mimic the sound because I haven't heard it since. And I don't know. I didn't want to find out. But yeah, that's what happens at parks at like 2 a.m. So,
You want to know a current fear I have right now? That's funny. So, I have this little can of like Bean Boozled jelly beans.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, I've also talked about this with other streamers and such, but I haven't mentioned the one crucial important fact that for the can that I specifically have, it's been in my room for over a year.
Oh.
Because I initially bought it to like do with my friends, but my friends and I haven't really gotten together and hung out, like people in my actual vicinity, and not people I can talk with online. So I never got to sit down and do it with them. So they've just kind of been sitting in my room for a year. So I kind of sat down and looked up. Hey, do jelly beans expire? Because I am afraid if I eat one of these and I get sent to the hospital or something.
Gotcha.
And I find out that they expire, I think about 6 months if refrigerated.
Yeah. So they do like confectionaries and stuff like that. Do definitely expire. But I've eaten a lot of expired candy in my life.
I have not opened this can of Bean Boozled jelly beans. And it's still sealed. So I'm questioning whether it's still technically safe to consume under that notion.
It wouldn't. Uh, I'd have to look it up to be 100% sure. But from
look it up.
my personal look it up. all right, bet. Let me see.
Look it up because I've looked it up and they said probably don't. And I'm like, cool. But what if?
That goes. I mean, that goes for anything that's expired. Like, obviously, it's like it's best to eat it by the best buy date.
Mhm.
But
Wait, does
if you
it have a
did,
Best Buy date? I'm looking now. Oh, April 5th, 2024.
oh, let me see. Hold on. Okay, like many other products, jelly beans have a best by date, which is simply the last date by which a manufacturer will vouch for the product's quality, not its safety. Because of this distinction, you may safely eat your jelly beans after the best by date has expired.
Oh, so I won't die.
No, it's not gonna make you explode. It, yeah, it's because like confectionaries, like it's a little worse for chocolate because of the milk. If you have milk chocolate, that's a little worse. But even in that case, worst you'll get is like a tummy ache.
Yeah, but I don't feel like having a tummy ache.
Yeah, but that's for chocolate. For jelly beans, that's like pure sugar.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna. It may enhance your Bean Boozled jelly beans by making them taste worse. So
I mean, there's that. But then how would I tell if they're the good flavors or bad flavors?
I guess what if it's like flipped? Like, what if now that they're past the best by date, the bad flavors taste good and the good flavors taste bad?
I kind of don't want to test it, but I also kind of do. Maybe by testing it with the blue ones, because that's either toothpaste or blueberry, and those are like the two safest options ever.
Yeah. That one's an easy one. Cause like toothpaste, that's not gonna make you gag. It's gonna be like gross, but like it doesn't have the same feel as actual toothpaste, which is where I think the actual disgusting part of toothpaste is. Like toothpaste, it's not really like the taste. It's like the chalky, like gross.
The chalky grossness and also the underlying notion of I may be sent to the hospital because at the back
Yeah.
it says you're not supposed to eat it and contact the poison center or something like that.
Yeah.
Should I open it?
I mean, well, I would wait until you're ready to like, do the whole Bean Boozled journey.
Yeah, but I could literally just buy another can of like Bean Boozle instead of
You
these
could.
year old.
I mean, if you just want to like test them, I mean, go for it. Like.
I kind of do, but at the same time, like then it's just me eating these disgusting beans.
Yeah, I know. That's the other part. Is like eating those alone. It's just kind of like what? Like the guy. Have you ever seen that picture of the guy mixing like Pepsi and milk? That like there's like a last frame where he's just sitting there like, why did I do this?
Pilk.
Yeah.
This is why I wanted to do it with friends, but I don't have any. Oh no, Mins, you want to buy a Bean Boozled can and do it with
Ship it over. That'll make it taste even better.
even better. The heat in the, especially in the summer and the heat of the trucks. My
I
God.
would legitimately do that. I would do that for the content. I-
Maybe another Stellar Broadcast episode.
yeah.
Maybe
Because I've
next
never.
week, because next week it will be the 10th iteration of Stellar Broadcast.
Oh, 10th anniversary. Time to eat some Bean Boozles.
You know what's funny? Also, the barcode on this is also in the shape of a bean.
Ooh, that's
They
nifty.
also they put a lot of attention to detail. The one I have is the 6th edition. I didn't even know there's multiple editions until I looked at this. Is there another edition? Are there 7th editions? Hold on.
Let me hold on. Yeah. 6th edition challenge.
Right, because it came in those little boxes before. Not like the plastic can that I have right now.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. They've been around for a while.
I think. Okay, I'm gonna look at these and see which ones would actually give me trouble. Because I'm not.
There
I've
is
got
a
a, I've
7th
got
edition.
kind of a. Oh really? Oh shit. I've got kind of an iron gut.
Kind of.
Kind of. In that, like, I don't, I don't like eating gross stuff, but if it happens, it's still gross, but I'm able to kind of like hold it in. But I've never eaten these before, so I don't know.
Me
What's
neither.
what's the 7th edition have? Flavors.
All right, let's just go through the flavors in general with
Yeah.
starting from the 7th, I guess.
Okay. So let's see. These are the flavors. So there's pomegranate and old bandage. I guess that's a favorite. That one's been in, like, every edition
No, that's new since the 6th.
since the 6th. Okay. Top banana or wet dog. Oh,
That's new. That's not in my thing.
that's definitely. I've smelled that smell a lot though. Like
Wet dog, yeah.
like I feel like I could power through that one. That one's not like too bad.
Yeah.
Cappuccino or liver and onions. And again, like, you eat liver and onion. Like, people, like, yeah, it's not. I don't like it, but it is a food. Now barf. That I think would give me peach or barf. Yeah, like that probably. I don't know. I would be a little worried about that one. Just because, like, you're eating it, so it's like that taste is gonna be a little more visceral. And as we talked about, like, the toothpaste one, non-issue. Like, I've even heard people call the toothpaste one actually good.
Yeah.
Like,
Hold on, I'm
like
trying
it
to
tastes
pull
good.
a screenshot of it. There we go.
All right.
I put him up on stream now.
Okay. So yeah, peach barf, tutti frutti, or stinky socks. I mean, that one's kind of a mystery one for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what is that gonna like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, licorice or burnt rubber. That's just interesting to me. Like I'm not gonna like the taste of burnt rubber, but if they're able to kind of mimic that, like, smell / taste, I think I'm gonna be more impressed than anything. Be like, oh yeah, that is burnt rubber.
Mhm.
Toasted marshmallow or stink bug. Yeah, I mean that's probably gonna be foul, but like not. I think I could handle that one. Juicy pear or booger. That's gonna be gross because the I don't think you even need to make like a booger flavor.
Mm.
You know, like just because you called it booger, like if you just make it like a salty jelly bean, you're gonna be like, ah, it's like a booger.
That
Uh,
reminds me. 'Cause, like, I
huh.
could have swore that instead of booger, it used to be like grass clippings or something.
Oh, it did, yeah.
Look up. Yeah, they used to be different.
Hmm.
Like instead of barf, they literally called it vomit, and I guess there was a lemon. No,
It's
rotten
a
egg is
different
still
flavor
there.
profile, you know, vomit, barf. It's
Yeah.
uh
Right, it was lawn clippings and lime.
oh yeah, lawn clippings I'd be curious about.
Oh yeah, canned dog food, and chocolate pudding,
Mm,
licorice and skunk spray, coconut baby wipes. This is 5th edition stuff. So they're trading them out for other stuff.
yeah.
Skunk spray and licorice. I think that's a
Yeah,
lose lose on
barf.
that one.
Yeah, barf. I think vomit or barf. Like they're never gonna have an edition without that one.
Yeah.
Dead fish might give me a problem
How about the
because
cappuccino one with the liver and onions?
see that one I think I could do. Like liver and onions, I think I could do. Dead fish, I think, because I like fish, but I'm not. I like specific fish.
Mm.
So dead fish implies like maybe something that maybe like a rotten fish or maybe like you know that that sounds like that might be very very gross. Yeah, no, I would be down. I would be down to take this plunge and try these jelly beans. And there's like a game with it, right?
Well, it's part
Like a
of the
spinner.
yeah, it's part of the game where you just spin a dial for you to pick up like one that looks like whatever. Say if it's like on blue, you either get toothpaste or blueberry or berry blue instead of blueberry. Why do they switch around the words? I don't know. Um, and then you find out what you get.
You fuck
You
around
know,
and find out.
you fuck around and find out. It's not really just you randomly picking from the bag and eating. It's like no, you spin around, then you pick which one. But technically, you don't have to listen to that.
You can just chug them. Just fucking pour the whole
And
bottle in your mouth.
that's what one streamer I know about has done. Like hell, you know him, Joel,
Mm. Yeah.
the Varg
Yeah.
Skeletor. He literally
He
just
played
start
my
eating
video game.
them. Exactly. He literally like actually genuinely likes all the flavors of like the Bean Boozle. Like unironically.
Oh my god. Like I was saying, I think I said this in like one of the RP lobbies. No, it was just we were hanging out with V. And I was like, it's probably better to just eat all of them at once. Because you mix the good ones with the bad ones, and you get just kind of a muted taste.
Yeah, that's the strat. Yeah, yeah.
If you ever want to get rid of the beans and you don't want to throw them away, that's the only way to go. Just eat all of them at once.
Hmm. That's interesting. I'm looking at the. Oh, they even have a holiday edition. Like naughty or nice jelly beans. But wait, do they have the other editions? Because so far I'm only seeing stuff from the 6th edition, and they just came out with the 7th edition. Oh, wow, they aren't doing the other editions. It's only 6th and 7th. I guess they're slowly transitioning to 7th.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to know what grass clippings taste like.
Yeah, me too, actually. Yeah. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but
Of them
come
cycling it
on.
out?
Yeah, so like, because they can make it as like, whenever they have a new one, they can kind of like cycle the old one out so that they can make sure that people are buying like the newer ones. So that they can kind of have like this scarcity to it a little bit.
Hmm.
Like you can try this and you're one of the many at this period, at this time period, that got to experience this. Now that's, I mean, they'll probably bring those flavors back. But it's the whole engineered scarcity kind of makes the product a little bit more appealing.
Well, I can tell you what they traded out. Because I have the 6th edition in my hand, and they're advertising the 7th edition on their site. They traded out dirty dishwater or birthday cake, and rotten egg or buttered popcorn with licorice and burnt rubber or top banana or wet dog. Ugh. All the other ones are still there, so they literally just swapped out 2 of them.
Yeah, I'm kind of pumped for this now. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, and the fear of eating a disgusting one. Eh?
Exactly. My fear is eating a disgusting one that's a year old. Look, all I know is the fact that next week, after the next Stellar broadcast, and I don't stream, you know why.
Look,
All I can say is Mittens maybe do it.
you know, you've protected them from contaminants.
Yeah, I just haven't opened it at all.
Yeah, yeah. They're gonna taste different than they normally would. So it's gonna be kind of weird in the sense that like I might eat one that's like absolutely disgusting and you're like, not that bad. Or vice versa. I don't think the taste is gonna be that different though. Like between the Best Buy and not, like, because it's not that far past the Best Buy date.
I mean, that's a month.
That is a month, but for confectionaries, because it is just like sugar, I'm sure the like flavoring isn't going to be like sure it'll be affected, but I don't think it's going to be like that much of a difference. It's going to be negligible. Because yeah, it'd be different if it was like chocolate or something, but jelly beans be chill.
Kind of fine, like the 1st edition. Alright. I'll just look up editions once more.
Oh, I was on there's a wiki. There's Jelly Belly wiki.
There's a Jelly Belly wiki.
Yeah, it's just a fandom. Somebody's cataloged like all of
I
these.
I didn't even know there was a wiki. Alright.
Here.
I pulled it up.
All right, cool. Oh, weird. First edition, they had barf. So I guess maybe there is a difference between barf and vomit.
Alright. So I feel like I need to like pull this up on a screen, man. Of like the website. I'm like, here guys, look at this. I guess that's what I'm gonna do now. As I figure things out. Document review.
I'm in the TV.
In the TV for now.
Yeah. Now you're on the field.
I'm pulling you in, I promise. I promise.
Okay. Robin, what's it look like out there?
I pulled up the flavors.
What's it look like in the jelly bean dimension?
Hold on, I'm unplugging the TV real quick. Mm, right. I'm dragging it down. You're there, but you're extra tiny. Let me make you a bit bigger. There you go.
Here I'm approaching. Here I am.
You're there. And this is what I have. There we go. We are on the wiki site now. So, first edition, they had baby wipes or coconut, rotten egg or buttered popcorn, which they've traded out in the 7th edition finally. Black pepper or plum, barf or peach, toothpaste or blueberry. I guess those two are, gonna be there for a while. Skunk spray or licorice. I don't know how you could win from that. Burger or juicy pear, moldy cheese or caramel pop or caramel corn, earwax or cafe latte. I haven't heard that. Pencil shavings or top banana. Huh, so top banana wasn't flavored before.
Yeah, they changed the bad version
Mm.
in the newest one.
Oh my god, that
I
was
feel
in
like moldy
2007?
cheese. Oh damn.
They've been around for a long while. Oh my god, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, shit. I didn't know they'd been around for that long.
Huh. I guess like they upped their advertising game in later years.
Yeah. Well, I think
Yeah.
part of what helped them is like, I mean, streamers, really, like YouTubers trying it and popularizing it.
Yeah. They added chocolate pudding or canned dog food along with strawberry jam or centipede and traded out the cafe latte, earwax, plum or black pepper. Honestly, the black pepper doesn't sound too
No.
bad.
Yeah.
But centipede or strawberry jam, I remember that being there. Third edition, the Tutti Frutti or Stinky Socks with the lime or lawn clippings. Top banana and strawberry jam flood the scene.
That makes sense because like the thing with centipede is like I don't even know how to conceptualize how a centipede would taste. you know?
Yeah.
So it's like it could be anything, and you're just like, okay, I guess this isn't strawberry jam, so I guess this is centipede. Like I don't have like like a centipede as a bug is disgusting. A centipede as a flavor, I don't fucking know.
I
Yeah.
think it's more over going based on people's fears of
Yeah.
bugs, of, imagining them crawling in your mouth or something like that. Or you're eating a bug, oh, disgusting, gross. But I like how they just got rid of it in the
Yeah.
next edition
They're just like, eh.
immediately. Yeah, and I remember the lime or lawn clippings. I'm like, what do lawn clippings taste like? How did they engineer that into a flavor, into taste? Like, I don't understand how.
I wonder if they do like
Coconut,
surveys.
probably. Coconut or spoiled milk or strawberry banana smoothie or dead fish. And they actually traded out the coconut or baby wipes with coconut and spoiled milk. I guess
Hmm.
baby wipes were, well, weak as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they went with spoiled milk, which is a lot more disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah. That one, understandable trade.
Mm. And then they brought the toasted marshmallow or stink bug, birthday cake or dirty dishwater. And they traded out the lime lawn
Oh,
clippings. No. Caramel corn and
they'll
moldy
probably put it
cheese.
back.
Hopefully. Oh, this is not up to date. That's no longer current.
Mm.
The Jelly Belly Wiki falling behind.
Get on it, guys.
Exactly. And then that's when they added the old bandage one with the addition that I have. And, the cappuccino or liver and onions.
Mm.
And the canned dog food, because I remember the canned dog food. I'm like, what does that taste like in a jelly bean also? But that's when they swapped it
Mm.
out.
Because
Oh,
there's
they
like
had.
the other
Hmm.
element is like the texture of a jelly bean and like what is more gross specifically with that texture. I think that was probably the idea behind Centipede.
Mm. You want to know something funny?
Hmm.
I don't even like jelly beans.
You really are playing on hard mode, damn.
Like, I actually don't like jelly beans. Like, at all. Like, I could eat them. That's fine. But they're not my favorite out of the candy list. And now I have
Yeah.
this Jelly Belly Bean Boozle jelly beans that's a year old. And I don't know
They're
what to do
definitely
with them.
they're definitely not my first pick. Um
Yeah.
I think they're great. Honestly, the thing with jelly beans that the thing with any kind of candy like specifically like that is that it gets like stuck in your teeth. That
Yeah.
I think is the part of it that I don't really like. Cuz like the flavor like they're like it's good jelly bean flavors. I like them, but it's just like the jelly bean as a the form factor of a jelly bean is not ideal. It's the same thing with like taffy or anything like that. It's like there are nice flavors. Like my dad loves jelly beans, loves taffy, loves like now or later, like any kind of candy like that. Like he just loves it.
Oh
Um,
no, I love like taffy. Is that
mm,
especially like saltwater taffy? Like, I don't know, it hits different. And now or
yeah.
later, I've loved those candies, but jelly beans I cannot get behind.
Oh,
Like, I could eat them,
yeah,
but like if they're there, I'm not going.
yeah. Like taffy is better than jelly beans.
Mm.
Um, just jelly beans is kind of like yeah. I don't know. It's like I I wouldn't choose them.
Mm.
If you were like pick a candy, I would just walk right past the jelly bean section.
Exactly.
Um but I don't hate them. It's just sometimes eating them is a little bit more than I bargained for in the
Because
teeth
eating
department.
them feels like you're just literally chewing on a hardened like lump of sugar. Like I gain no satisfaction from that versus something like taffy where it fights you and threatens to take out one of your teeth, and I'm like, okay, let's do this. It's time for
All
gambling.
right. So it's
Same
got to
with
be a
Now or
challenge.
Later.
That's why Bean Boozle appeals to you, because now it's a challenge. It wasn't a challenge before. Now it's a challenge.
Well, kind of not really. I mostly just wanted to see my friends suffer eating beans, but
Fair.
like they've all moved on to other places, so I'm just left with the shitty can that I don't want. So I
we're
need to
gonna be
use it
Bean
somehow.
Boozled.
We're gonna be Bean Boozled.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen
Um,
now.
Yeah, like 100%. I am down to eat disgusting jelly beans. Let's go.
Yeah, but we
um,
know what we're doing next week.
Yeah. So
Unless you don't want to do it that soon.
no, I'm down. Like 100%.
All right, here's your homework.
Mm,
Go out and
I can
buy
pick myself up some Bean Boozes.
Yep, Bean Boozle.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a place around the corner that has them. I've seen them.
Mm.
So I'll pick some up and we will play.
Yeah.
And there's probably like they probably have the spinner online somewhere. So
They do. It's literally on their website.
should we make like a meta game out of it? I don't even know what it. Well, we can talk about this after. But
What, like doing this in character or something like that?
no, like some kind of challenge. Like play some kind of other game, and then whoever loses that game has to spin. Like something that's like quick that we can go back and forth on.
Hmm. Well, I just
wonder.
recently learned how to play Scrabble with my friend Nova, who says he beats me, but you know I think the win kind of goes to me. Totally not because he ran out of time. It was deducted points. But I think I won that. You know, I've never played Scrabble before.
It's got to be something quick. It's got like something where we both give answers, and or either we're going head to head on something that's like round based, that's like quick, or we give answers and whoever, because if it's like a quiz-esque thing, then we could potentially both lose and both have to spin, which I guess would probably be better. We're on the same team, but then against each other, there's also an interesting angle there, you know.
Let me look up something we could do. Well, you continue to talk about beans or something. I don't know.
Okay, let me tell you about beans. All right. It's a complicated form. Okay.
Yeah, you
The
have
bean,
none of the beans.
I don't have any beans. I'm sorry.
No toe beans, no nothing.
Yeah.
What
Sorry.
kind of cat are you?
Look, all right. You know, I was born the way I was born. Okay. And
Beanless.
I have been beanless my whole life. All right. And you just gonna have to deal with it. All right.
Can't accept
Nope.
this. No.
No, you just gonna have to deal with it. This is me. All right.
Beanless. Shameful to all
My
cats.
soul. I have beans on my soul.
You have beans in your soul. Why do I just imagine you looking down at your hands and then they're just like the phantom beans? The beans that were once there but now long gone.
That's right. All right? Like beans are a state of mind, okay? It's not just look. All right? I exude bean energy.
You exude bean energy.
That's right. That's all I need. But yeah, the fucking jelly beans. Well, aside from jelly beans, I don't really have any jelly bean related stories. That's the other reason why I don't like jelly beans. I don't have any anecdotes. I don't have any like creepy jelly bean stories to
Creepy jelly bean
regale.
stories.
Yeah, I don't, I don't have creepy, scary, spooky jelly bean stories. Uh, one time, I saw a jelly bean, and it floated.
And it floated? Oh my
It
god.
floated. It floated up, and it said, "Boo," and I got bean boozled.
You got bean boozled.
Yeah. This Halloween is gonna be a good Halloween.
Hmm.
Cause I'm gonna actually, I feel like the past few Halloweens, I just kind of survived through them. I didn't really do anything. This Halloween, I'm gonna do stuff. I'm calling it. Mainly because I'm going to start posting another comic, kind of,
Oh.
in the season. Yeah, you know, I've been making plans to make a horror comic. The one that I showed on a previous Stellar broadcast, I believe, at the time I called it. It was Minimum Wage Hero Quest. That was the quest,
Mm.
the beginning of that. I went into it a bit, mostly into like the reason that I made it. Last time I talked about this, I was talking about like, well, it's because when you're working all the time, there's kind of a wage rage that you just kind of have in you. You're like, God damn, I don't get any time for myself. It's it just kind of like permeates, and I needed an
Mm.
outlet for that. So that's what I made that quest for. And now I'm doing it again because I've been kind of having those feelings again. But when I was making it at the time, this was 10 years ago. Like literally 10 years ago when I made this quest. I was big into like SCP at the time. And there was some of that in the quest. Not overtly, but it was there. I liked the thing that I really liked about, I didn't really know a whole lot, like outside of like the popular SCPs. I didn't really know a whole lot about it, but I loved the concept. And so at the time, I was like, okay, well, I like the idea of like secret, facility with like weird fucking anomalies in it, and the general populace knows nothing about this, and it's all hush hush and like concealed, and I like that shit. And so I incorporated some of that into that, and then also kind of based it off of some of the concepts in SCP, but in a way where it's like you're on the outside of it. You know, you don't know all of the, like, the characters don't really know what's going on. So a lot of the stuff that I would kind of allude to, I wouldn't do it very directly. You know, it was kind of a if you know, you know situation. So with this comic, I'm kind of doing that again. It's a little interesting because it's been 10 years since I even looked into any of that stuff. So, you know, looking back at it has been kind of interesting, and I have gotten some ideas, but as I did back in the day, you know, I don't really feel like I'm gonna directly kind of like, I'll base it around some of the stuff, some of the kind of like down like lore, quote unquote, you know, I'll base it around some of that stuff. I'll make it fit in. That I think that's the best way I can put it. I will make this fit in to the lore. But it's not going to be like a very intricate thing. Because the lore, and I guess I should say, I do have a name for this thing. I didn't really have one back in the day. But this comic that I'm making now, because it's not a quest anymore, I dropped the hero and the quest, and it's just called Minimum Wage. No, I called it Dead End Redeemer. That's the working title right now.
Working title.
May change. It may change, but that's kind of what I'm going with at the moment. But it's about, so one of the things with SCP is they have a bunch of different, like, nowadays, back in the day they didn't really have, like, they had a few different, you know, organizations. It wasn't just SCP, there was other stuff. Now there's just like so many, there's like so many things splintering off. So I made one. I made a splinter. I made a quote unquote organization. It's not really an organization. It's the concept behind it is an interconnected network of just people working entry-level jobs, communicating through like secret menus and, like, you know, like like orders and people like doing, if you've ever worked like a fast food job, have you ever done like maybe there's another fast food place like across the street and you like trade them like some burgers for some like chicken or whatever? You know, just different ways that you would communicate, except there are coded phrases. And the idea being that you have kind of a network of people that are integrated into different locations, like into the general populace, that if an incident were to happen, they could, you know, secure people. They could be literally on the scene, wouldn't have to, well, you're gonna have to send people out, but before they even get there, you have people on the scene, right? That's the idea. And the central character is kind of like a part of that. These people have their own kind of rules. Like they're not supposed to like fight these things. They're not supposed to like try and capture these things. Their primary focus and their only focus is just like extracting people, like innocent people, civilians, you know, like that is their focus as like a collective. But it's like kind of funny to me, and like also kind of interesting. Like it threads the needle, or it threads the needle for me for something that's like kind of goofy but also kind of interesting. This idea that like just these random people that like you're not gonna remember are interconnected in a way that like you can't see. It's just kind of like a secret network of people that are just very, plain and pedestrian on the surface level, right?
Mm.
And I like that idea. I thought that was kind of a, a neat thing to explore. Character-wise, it's a little bit more, I mean, with having the themes around working a dead-end job, because as far as, this kind of work, this would be the dead-end version of that. Like, it's not a glamorous gig. Um, and I'm gonna be kind of treating it as such, like the people that they kind of respond to, like just this like face entity that they just call corporate. It's like, oh, we got word corporate, we got to do this. Like it's it's like something that I kind of want to use to both as something that's like amusing and kind of funny sometimes, but also kind of like existential and like delves into the idea of like working a dead-end job and like not feeling like you're going anywhere and like all of this stuff. That's kind of the heart of it, is a character that kind of feels disillusioned with what they're doing, and they kind of strike out to kind of make it their own in their own way. So yeah, and it's I mean, it is horror, even though like I do have these kind of elements of like goofiness. Ultimately, I'm not trying to scare. I'm gonna have some creepy stuff in there, but I think for the most part, I just kind of want it to be enjoyable. Maybe if you're working a dead end job, feel a little less alone. Like that to me is my primary goal with this, and for it to be cool. That also, there's kind of there's some cool stuff. So that's what I'm making, and that's what I've been making for the past few weeks, maybe month, maybe. Shit, I actually don't remember. A few weeks to a month. And yeah, I did have I could show the main character.
You mean the picture you sent me?
Yeah. I have another character, but they're not really like, I mean, they are a main character. They're just, I won't show them yet. But the main character is the one that I'm cool with showing.
There it is.
So this is Liz, formerly Lysol. She is 35. And she's been doing this for a while. When I did the quest, she was well, technically she was 22 in the quest. So I could make her 32, but it's a little too real, all right? Let's just say that, all right?
My gosh.
Look, I have a penchant, all right? The characters need to be older, okay? That's it's just a rule. It's just a rule for me, okay? I mean, they don't need to be, but this is Liz, and she's been doing this for a while. Her issue is that, well, she's kind of before she got into all of this, she didn't really have a lot of self-worth. Didn't really have a lot of, like, she was in the margins. She was definitely a rebel as like a youngin, but she didn't really have a lot of like, she was kind of a rebel out of necessity. Like, she kind of felt like she had already kind of fallen away from the norm, so why bother trying to meet it, you know? But a lot of that in her past kind of facilitated this lack of self-worth, this lack of, like, viewing the things that she wants and the things that she wants to do as a priority. And going forward, when she finally finds something she's good at, which is like these kind of crisis situations, she starts to kind of pin her self-worth on that. Because, I mean, like, what could be worth more than saving lives, right? But a lot of her issue is the way that she views worth, just as a concept. Just because of the way that it was established for her, like, in relation to herself, the way that she views worth means that the way that she views what she does when she says, like, this is my worth, it is like her everything. Everything that she experiences in her life has to be through this thing. It can't be without it, because it's what she sees as being worth something. And that's, that's not great. It's not ideal. Like, you should be proud of the things that you do and the things that you're good at, but to have them as, like, the only thing, to feel like this is the only, like, this is what makes me, like, this is what makes me worth anything. That is tricky. I mean, that kind of complicates literally everything, because now, when you're not doing the thing that you think is your worth, regardless of what the people around you tell you, you're going to be feeling pretty worthless. So it's going to make you prioritize this thing. And in your mind, it's like, well, I'm doing this because, like I'm doing this for other people. I'm doing this for, it's like, it's going to be a barrier. Like, the thing that you're doing, it now has become this barrier for you to experience life, because now you think of it as, like, the only thing that you can provide. So you can't really engage with anyone without providing that.
Mm.
And I wanted to kind of tell a story about a person who, because the original was about a person finding something, like finally finding something that they feel both that they have a knack for and also that they want to be good at. Like they want to kind of put this effort in, and it kind of means like someone who starts, without this meaning, finding this meaning, and it kind of reinvigorating them. And this comic is like basically taking that and being like, okay, well, like it's great that they found it, but it didn't really like address the reasons why like they didn't have meaning. It just kind of like put it off, you know?
Mm.
So that's what the core of the comic is about, self-worth, through a few different characters. I may show you other characters at a later date, but pretty much all of the characters are dealing with their self-worth in one way or another, be it like how others view their worth or how they view their worth, situational worth, and all this shit. Like all of the central characters are dealing with this in some way, and that's kind of why, one of the reasons why they kind of feel drawn to each other. And it's also kind of, just a little goofy sometimes. Because I like to have fun. So yeah, it's not gonna be something that's extremely like, it's gonna be violent, and there's gonna be that undercurrent of like wage rage, you know. But like Liz is wage rage incarnate. You know, that like
Mm.
that's what her character is supposed to be. But it's I want it to be very empathetic and also fun and exciting and a little scary, a little scary. So that's what I've been working on.
Hmm. I can't wait to hear more.
Yeah, me neither.
I also see where all that jacket drawing practice went to.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, she I mean, I knew I kind of wanted one of those kind of like almost bomber jacket-esque. I mean, the lore behind it is it's just a jacket that she got like for free from one of her jobs, one of her many
Mm.
jobs that are technically all over her back there.
Yeah.
All those, I don't have a close-up here, but all of those are going to be different fast food places, just different companies, like different entry level jobs that she's worked at, either had a uniform or like a hat or something, and she's taken those patches and put them on like a jacket just to kind of
Mm.
like garner some sense of progression to like keep her sane, you know?
Mm.
Um so that's kind of a like a her thing. Well, one, she likes jackets with patches on them, but also, um,
Me too.
yeah. I mean, it's a cool fucking thing. I'm gonna put some patches on my jacket.
Oh my gosh, same.
So yeah, it makes sense.
Mm.
I mean, it's just cool, you know.
It is. It do be cool.
That it do. Um,
I just need to find a good jacket though.
yeah, that is the tricky. I actually before this I'd never thought of putting like I have patches and I've had patches for like a while and I've just kind of accumulated some just over the years because I would get like art books and stuff and sometimes I would find artists that would do like like Kickstarters and stuff like that and I'd be like I really like this artist, fuck it, I'll get the like you know high tier and then they send the book and there's like patches with it and I'm like well these are cool patches but I don't really have a jacket that but now I finally do so it's time for and it's like the colors actually like work which is kind of cool
Mm.
for a lot of them weirdly enough I have a lot of purple patches.
Hmm.
I don't know, just like purple or like purple and purple and yellow and like pink and like like I don't know. It just worked out. And then the jacket that I have is kind of like an olive green, and it just kind of like
Ooh.
yeah, it looks neat. It looks neat.
I kind of got this jean jacket for me to like put stuff on, but I ended up kind of going back against that because one, it's a bit form-fitting and I like my jackets to be big and loose.
Mm.
There's that one. Two, I saw my friend with a leather jacket have patches on it. I'm like, yo, I
Oh,
need
you're
a
going for the
leather
leather.
jacket now. Exactly. But then my wallet starts crying and I'm like, okay, later.
Oh yeah. I think leather is cool. I never
Mm.
thought that I could pull it off though.
I think just about anyone can pull off leather. That's the same way I think about suits.
Yeah, I mean that is true. I don't know. For some reason, I like. I'm like this is cool. Like I love this on other people, but I don't really love it on me. But I can't deny, like it looks cool. Just for some reason, when I think of myself wearing a leather jacket, I'm like, I
Dude,
don't know.
just literally toss on a leather jacket, get yourself like a wig of a pompadour, for just put it over the zipper, and the robo arms. A little bit over the robo arms. Maybe a little bit folded like you have right there. You're set.
All right, maybe I'll give it a try.
Or maybe the little hair they you showed me before.
Oh, you mean when I curled my hair into a little curly cue?
Yeah. Into a little curl that looks like it was totally not taped on with hopes and dreams.
Definitely not. That was my legit hair. Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Just literally licked your thumb and just
you know what? That would be
just
great.
pressed
That would be great. And then like I take the jacket off and I have like the like t-shirt with the rolled up sleeve and like the cigarettes and the
Mm-hmm. Yep.
great. Yeah. So yeah. This is the it was the first rendition. Well, technically not the first. The quest was the first rendition, but this is the ideas that I've been having for this character. Um, you know, she she has different outfits, but for this first story, I just really wanted to put her in like a baggy jacket with patches. I felt like
Mm.
that's her energy. That's the energy I want.
Question.
What's up?
How do you potentially start a quest? Like, how did
Okay,
you start?
so I started um I started just generally uh in like a smaller community. Well, it was like a smaller community, like as a part of like a larger community. It's like Reddit, right? Like I
Mm.
started kind of in a place like that, because this is like 10 years ago. So there were enough people that could just happen upon it that would be interested in it, for me to just kind of like do that. But I also didn't really have a lot of friends.
Mhm.
So it really just depends on the what you want out of it. Like if you want the general public to participate, then you could find like sub communities that do quests and things like that, just like frequently, and you can just be like, okay, well, I'll just make like a post and I'll make my own quest, and then people can see it and play it. um to start it, really, you don't want to do too much writing up front, if you're doing a quest. Like basically you're going to kind of you're going to be doing a lot of improv, with the individual actions. So like don't like you can have a general idea of where you're going to go, like the kinds of locations and things that you're going to have that you're going to allow people to kind of look around, but like you don't have to get super intricate with it. Whereas something like D&D, or like a pen and paper, you
Mm.
kind of have to get a little bit more like, okay, well, these NPCs are at this place, and they're, like, you don't have to do that as much, because there's no like maps, there's no like battle system, unless you want to make one, but you don't need one. So you can just kind of do whatever. That's like one of the things about quests that's kind of cool. The way that I would do them is I would have a picture. I would just write like, basically what's going on. Here's what's around you. Just narratively, I would describe what was going on, and then at the end of the post, I would be like, okay, here's like 4 options. And the last option would always be like a write-in, like if you want to write in something for the character to do. But the reason for this, generally, for me, would just be like, these are the things logically that I personally could think of for the character to do, and I can let people kind of vote on that. But I always want to kind of leave it open to, somebody in the community, because every once in a while somebody will come up with an idea of something to do, and they'll write it in. And then other people will be like, actually, you know what? That is cool. And then I'll look at that and I'll be like, yeah, that is cool. So I'll just kind of let people, depending on generally kind of what people are more pushed towards, in a community sense. That's kind of how you progress. So it's like a collective controlling like one person, as opposed to like pen and paper, where it's like you have a party and the DM, and you're kind of, everybody kind of does their own actions, and the DM's like, this is what happens. This is more like everybody's just deciding on what to do next. Choose your own adventure, just with multiple people that are, and there's different forms of quests, but that's usually kind of what I would do. Like when I did Clown Quest. And it was a post-apocalyptic story about. So, let me tell you about Clown Quest, okay?
Please do.
There's this clown, all right? Her
Uh-huh.
name is Sylvie, okay? And she
Mhm.
isn't that good of a clown, okay? She
Aw.
has, her own band. She's trying to be a good clown. Her mom was a clown, and her mom wants her to be a better clown, but she doesn't have like the best relationship with her mom. She loves her mom, but she doesn't. And she gets a call from one of her clown friends who is like a very successful clown, but she's her friend, and she's trying to give Sylvie, all the chances she can. She's being a good friend.
Mm.
So, oh, hold on 1 second. I'll be right back.
All right. I guess he's gone. It's just me. I don't really have much to say other than the fact that I want to know more about Clown Quest. And I'm just looking at the picture he provided me of Lysol. Oh my gosh. You're from Nova Stream. Hi. Welcome, welcome. How's it going? Hi. Welcome to Stellar Broadcast, a podcast where it's hosted by me, Robin, and Robo Mittens, who had to step out for a sec. We're talking about his quest, quote unquote, is like giving people quests online and such, and see what they do with it and kind of go and improv on it. And he's talking about apocalyptic clown person. I'll move myself to the middle. But how have you been? Oh wait, are you back?
I'm back. I am.
Are you alright?
Yeah, I'm alright. All good. Hi.
There you go. Alright.
I see we have a new friend.
Yeah. They're from Nova Stream. Yeah, Nova
Oh.
Scalaris. That guy.
Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah. So tell us more about this
All
guy.
right. All right, Clown Quest. All right, let me tell you about Clown Quest, okay? Sylvie, she goes to her friend's house. Her friend, who's a more successful clown, she's like, look, my kid's having a birthday party. I want you to perform for my kid, okay? Being a friend, helping out. Sylvie bombs, okay? These kids do not think she's funny. They don't like her jokes. And she bombs.
They're the most ruthless also.
Yeah, and kids are the most ruthless. And like Sylvie's friends is like trying to, cheer her up, but like she feels like, man, like what the fuck? What am I doing? All right, so she's bummed out. She goes home. Her as a side note, her home, she has a bunch of like novelty sized furniture. She has like a giant chair and like a tiny TV.
Mm.
Because you know she's living that clown life. Um, so she falls asleep watching some old videos from her favorite clown growing up, and you know snuggles with her cat, and she just falls asleep. She wakes up, and her favorite clown is actually on TV. He's old now, and he's given a special interview. He hasn't talked to the press in years. It's a big deal. All right. And so everyone's buzzing. They're wondering, like, hey, are you coming out of retirement? And he's like, no. And they're like, okay, well, what are you doing? He's like, look, the world isn't funny anymore. That's what he's saying. And he's like, so I'm gonna make the world funny. These past few years, I've spent all of my clown fortune on advanced robotic technology. All right? I've built an army of killbots. And it's like, okay.
Okay.
The killbots will ask you to tell them a joke. And if it's not funny, they will kill you. That's right. Through Darwinism, he is creating a funnier world. And so
You know, this is just as silly as Horse Punk.
It is. So like now you're getting, you know, my humor here. And you know, it's chaos, it's pandemonium. You know, there's like stand-up comedy places are like bastions of safety because like they have like walls around them, and stand-up comedians are just standing on these walls like telling jokes, but they're like getting tired. They have to like change out. You know, they're just trying to keep people safe inside of these comedy clubs.
Oh my gosh. Sanctuary. You know that one scene in Hunchback of Notre Dame, of like the beginning scene of like Hunchback's mom just yelling "Sanctuary" in front of a church. I just imagine that's all like the comedians and like clowns into comedy clubs. It's like "Sanctuary, Sanctuary, please." God, please.
So Sylvie goes to one of these sanctuaries, finds one of these sanctuaries, and she finds a stand-up comedian to help her on her quest. You know what's really fucked up about this? I did this quest. This is the only quest that I ever finished. This is a full story.
Gosh.
I don't remember what she was trying to do. I don't think she was trying to stop the old clown. At least not initially. I mean, that's what it became. I would have to look back at my records, but yeah, she meets the stand-up comedian, and all of her friends, all of her party members, if you will, that she meets, are somewhat similar to her in that they're just a little off. You know, like not necessarily bad, but just off, just a little bit. Like she meets this mime that doesn't really like she was born into mimedom, but she doesn't really mesh with it, you know? Like she's like the only mime that talks. She's like dumb, whatever. But when Sylvie meets this mime, a killbot breaks into the mime place, you know?
Oh
and is just
no.
wrecking up these mines. And they escape to the roof, and the mime girl, like, her dad's like, you know, he basically like signs like, don't follow me. And he goes back in, and he's like, he turns around and he puts up an invisible wall, and she's like, no.
Oh no.
Fucking tragic mime self-sacrifice. There were a lot of, you know, a lot of good moments. It's a fun quest, but that's the kind of stuff that in a quest, generally, I think I like doing. Like, you don't want to put too much thought into it on the outset. I didn't really have like a plan going into this. I just kind of went with like I had a basic idea of the story that I wanted to tell. I want to tell a story about a clown that isn't good at being a clown, but they find their you know, inspiration after going through hardship. But what that hardship was, I didn't know until I was like, no, you know what, fuck it. Like, this is this old clown that's like lost touch with society, just living in his like clown cave. And he's like, no, it's the world who is wrong.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds, and I'm here with Keith, co-star of
And
my
yeah.
upcoming film.
It makes me want to start a quest of my own, but I have no idea as to what.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually for me. It's just kind of like I start from the character. I'm just like, here's this character, and here's like this situation, you know, and then I kind of like work my way out. I mean, I think a lot of quests start that way as well. They're just like, hey, you are this character, and you are in this place. What do you do? And then from there, you know, it just kind of progresses.
I feel like I need a little bit more of an audience to do that, but if anything, I might just send one to the Void, aka Twitter, also known as X, that I refuse to call it by. Might just toss one out there, going like, "Here's a little goober. What does he do? Where would he go?"
Yeah, honestly, that's the best, because like the thing is, if you have something that like with a bunch of upfront, like, this is this world and this, you know, it's like, I think people are less willing to engage with something like that than if you are just straight up like, here's this little goober, what should he do? You know, and then from there you can kind of like, it can then get deeper as you go, but I think generally it is really good to just start simple. But ultimately, take it where you want to take it. The other thing I learned from that Clown Quest thing is that there's always a way to pivot. Like, you're not beholden to one direction. You know, you're not beholden to just do even the audience. Like, there are ways you can incorporate people's, like, what people choose to do. You can incorporate that in a different direction. Like, you don't have to stick to the direction that you were going in. Like, if you're going in a direction that you personally don't find interesting, pivot, because ultimately you're the one that's making it. Like, don't feel like you are the creative slave to an audience of people. Like, if you don't like it, just pivot. just change the direction. You have the autonomy, you have the ability to do that. And that is kind of so like in the Clown Quest, I was starting to get kind of sick or tired of a certain direction. And in my mind, I was like, well, I mean, this is the direction it's going. Like, this is where the story is going. Like, I don't know what else I could do, you know, like, but then I was like, well, if I keep going this direction, I'm just going to get sick of this and stop working on it. And then I won't finish it. So, I mean, what's better? That it's just awkward, like one post, or that it just doesn't exist? Like, you know, it's like, and for the most part, like, actually, not just for the most part, like, nobody really interpreted it as something that was bad. Like, they don't know what you're planning. So, any pivots you do may just seem like, oh, okay, well, this is just naturally what happened. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that don't be afraid to like right the ship, as it were, in terms of your own personal interest in what's going on and story and stuff like that. Like, definitely don't like railroad people, but like, I think there's a huge difference between railroading and like, if you as the, you know, purveyor, if you as the person who's creating the thing is getting sick of it, that is worse than railroading. You know, like, so if you do a little bit of railroading just to get things back on track, on some kind of track, that's okay. You know, it's not like you're taking everyone and saying like, no, I'm invalidating all of your choices. It's like, no, it's like the direction that we were going, I'm not interested in. So I'm going to make the story, like, I'm going to make an event, I'm going to make an encounter, I'm going to make a thing that's going to change the direction of this thing to a thing that I'm
It's
more
like
interested
a
in.
Telltale game where the fact that you try to say something and then they say the exact opposite of the intention you thought your choice was gonna, take.
Yeah, you don't have to do that, but the results of that choice, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that could happen. You know, like that, like you can still leave the autonomy to people, but like what happens as the creator, like you get to decide. You know, you've established a logic as you build out a story, so you can kind of make things that are totally like hand of God stuff feel natural if you have a certain story logic. You know, like in this story with this clown and the killbots that are trying to get you to tell them a joke, technically at any moment one of those robots could show up and it would just be like, oh yeah, well, there's a lot of them, and you know, like there would be like, logically as the viewer it would make sense, but as a creator, if you're like, kind of want to just, I'm getting tired of this, I just want a killbot to show up and like change the direction of the story. It's like, you know, you have those different perspectives there. As a viewer, you don't see it that way. You just see it as like, well, that's the logic that they've established, is that these robots are running amok, so it makes sense, you know. But as long as you do what you want to do, you know, as long as you keep yourself into the equation, it's a good time. It's a lot of fun. It's just collaborative storytelling, you know.
I feel like Peyton would be like perfect fit for like those kind of things or stories, because she's like pretty much everyday person kind of thing that anyone can just kind of like fill in her shoes and see through her perspective of why the bullshit that she's dealing with is bullshit. But I'm not sure if I
Yeah.
could use her per se of like, here's a quest with her, as a little guy, little character. What will you all do if you were in her position? But if anything, I might do a
Yeah.
test run of like a faceless goober, just like a little guy.
Yeah. A lot of what, like the starts of, like for example, the minimum wage hero quest. The start of that one was just like average minimum wage job, but I like gamified it. So like that was kind of the draw, is like, here's this like average thing, but like there's a self-esteem meter, and there's like a, it's like kind of having fun with these elements is what made it kind of this engaging thing on the outset, because it's like, okay, well, like, what do you do? Like, which coworker should I talk to? Which, it's like having a little bit of these like seeds in it, and just kind of going and seeing what people will do, and then in the process of like that feeling out phase, you can define a lot of the character, and you can also let like, I mean, you can let the audience, like the people engaging with the quest, define parts of the character too. Like I think for the character Liz, people like defined what kind of music she listens to, and that in turn has like defined the whole tone. Like it was kind of cool because it's like a lot of the music that they suggested I hadn't really listened to before, and I listened to that, I'm like, okay, I can see it, like and stuff like that's really fun. I mean, really, like, that's the draw of doing like quests, things like that, is that collaboration, getting those different perspectives and kind of feeding it back in there. So in that regard, it is kind of hard to go in with an established character, because it's a lot more set in how that character is, so you have a lot less freedom in writing what they could do, because in your mind, like, well, this is what the character would do in this situation, so you can have like, because anyone, like any individual person, like, sure, there's multiple ways you can approach any given situation, regardless of who you are. But that kind of collaborative, like, that building out of a character like collaboratively, is also kind of fun sometimes for me. So it really just depends. I think starting, I would kind of start with a blank slate almost. Like, you can have a character that's in a situation. Obviously, they're gonna have a design. Like, you're gonna draw a person, like, or hell, it doesn't even have to be a person. Could could be anything. Goober.
Papers, because now I'm looking through like my sketchbook stuff, and I have a bunch of characters that are essentially blank slates. Because like I never went more in detail with who they are as a person, So now I'm just going through my old sketchbook list of like, hey, who did I draw before? Oh my god, hold on, hold the fuck on. Literally, I know the perfect character for this. Missing time hurt. Like, a lot of my old characters need updates now.
Well, yeah, you're gonna find.
You're making my brain cells move, Mittens.
Hell yeah, that's what it's all about. You're gonna before you know it, your audience is gonna name your character Lysol, and you're gonna be like, "Fuck it, we ball." Like that's their name,
Fuck it,
sure.
we
But like,
ball.
yeah, I mean, even with the Lysol thing, Sylvie, I think I named. I actually don't think I gave people the option to name her. Which is kind of a missed opportunity. You know, in hindsight, I mean, a clown, like coming up with a clown name, like that could be fun for people to do.
I just realized, for RP, you remember for the character, right?
For the character?
For
Oh, fur, right. I
she
thought you said
technically
for the character.
no, she's technically another good example because she's technically always out adventuring and stuff,
Mm.
you know? So maybe I
Yeah.
could have like people control the environment instead and people see what happens, just kind of flipping on its head a bit instead of deciding what she does and decides what happens around her.
Yeah, I mean that actually would be really interesting, yeah. Like instead people are influencing the environment, yeah. I'd be into that, yeah. Cuz then it's kind of like you're looking in, tapping the glass. You're just like you know, like you're influencing the world around a character. And that could make some interesting like interaction, like people, how they choose to kind of manipulate the environment specifically, like to what end, like what do they want to do specifically, like do they want, like is there some kind of pressing thing happening and they're like, oh, we got to figure out how to, you know, I don't know, that's interesting.
I already have like a decent list now of people I can recycle now. Because I'm looking at all these characters and I'm like, what do I even do with them? Like,
Yeah, I
like
I
I don't know where
definitely
to
did
place
that.
them, what to do. So,
Like I've had characters where I'm just like, fuck it, I'll just throw them in here. Like I need a random person here. I need a random character here. Yeah. The thing is with that, and this is one of those things that always happens. People are going to want to know more about the side character. You know, it's like you have a character that's just supposed to be like this one-off character that's like part of the thing. No, it's like that character they want to know all about. They're like, all right, what's this character's deal? I mean, that's one of those common things. Like if you start a quest with just a single person, you're just like, all right, here's an individual. The first person you meet as that character, like, all right, this is my best friend. Like the audience is gonna be like, no, we need to make friends with this person. We need, you know, it's like. But yeah, it's fun. It's a good exercise. I don't know, like storytelling. I don't know. It's like improvisational storytelling. And then like getting ideas that you, because you're getting ideas from random people. So it's like you're getting different perspectives. Just a little bit. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend giving it a shot. Now it's it is tough to get people to engage with it sometimes. Um, so
Yeah, because it's just like my one fear when it comes to that of like
hmm,
if I make something like it's gonna have to be a little haphazard of like here's something to the void like I can't invest super duper much in purely improv because I don't know it's not guaranteed that people would interact the stuff I make, you know, because
that's why I
I
would
haven't
suggest
posted much stuff out there.
trying to find a community that does these and then posting it there.
Mm.
Because then you're guaranteed some interaction. You're guaranteed to like get it, and then you can like post the quest to the Twitter, like repost it to Twitter, and then if people
Mm-hmm.
on Twitter start to get interested in it, then you can just you can move it over to Twitter. You can you can do you're the creator. You can do whatever. But that would be my recommendation is finding a community that does that, and there's just like different people and different kinds of quests going on at any point in time. And then just kind of making your stake there. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, that's
Because
that's
my digital fruit footprint unfortunately is kind of non-existent, but that's because I've been around the block like a long time. I just haven't been consistent, at least back
yeah.
then. Like my VTuber account on Twitter currently was originally my art account, where I just
Mm,
started posting random stuff of like whatever I thought was cool. But then I, kind of hit a wall with my art. I would like I don't like any of this shit. Like I'm not posting that
mm,
to have it eternally on the internet.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to. It is really hard to get people to. I mean, even like popular accounts have a hard time getting people to engage with. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it is kind of a difficult thing. That's why it's you want to find enthusiasts because they will engage. Like
Mm.
enthusiasts will engage with you. Um, you have to be. It basically already has to be a big thing for you to get random people to engage with it. Um, I mean, there's always the luck factor. Like you can get lucky, and it just pops off. The algorithm loves it, can't live without it. like
Mm.
like there that is a possibility, but it's a very slim one. So I don't
Very.
blame you. Like I do also have that fear. I do also you know, it's crazy. We circled it back to fears.
What do you mean? This was planned the entire time.
Oh yeah, yeah. I do also have that where it's really demoralizing, like putting something out and then just like nobody engages with it. I get it, it is rough. Um, and on a place like Twitter, it's almost, I mean, it's inevitable. Like, it is really tough. You can slowly accrue following to get a few likes guaranteed, a few bits of engagement guaranteed, but it's not something that's going to be especially for something like a quest. It's going to be difficult.
Mm.
So yeah, finding those places where I mean, and that's just true for anything. Like, even with like streaming, it's like if you just try to stream randomly, and you don't have any streamer friends, you're like not gonna get any viewers. You're not gonna get anybody watching, and I mean, that's part of the experience. But also, like, why not just join a community? You know, like depends on the
Uh,
type of follower. Not all followers. That's true.
I
Yeah,
mean, B
I
feels
feel
called out.
Well, that's
Ivy.
the thing. You know, it it depends on what you want out of it. If it's just a casual thing that you just kind of want to like chill and play, and maybe you have a couple friends pop in and pop out with, like, that's fine. If you're trying to like grow a community, or you're trying to grow a channel, you can't do it alone.
Mhm.
You know, you're gonna need friends. You're gonna need to, talk to people. Like, I mean, like you're doing. You know, meeting streamers, making new friends. Like that's what it requires, and that's kind of what you want to be doing anyways. You know, you want to meet new people. You want to kind of like have fun with this thing that you enjoy doing. Like,
Mhm.
people always talk about the grind set. Well, like, just sitting there by yourself grinding is kind of miserable.
It is.
Like, yeah, you absolutely should put in work in the things that you want to progress in, but like blindly shaving away at something and not engaging with anything outside of that, not really the way to do it. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's part of the reason why I reached out to, for example, Nova. He's the only example as of current. I already knew you, and you just started streaming recently, Mittens. But I reached out to Nova because I was like, this dude is pretty cool. And then I just, do what everyone does when they want to like interact more with the person. You stalk their social media. Uh, okay, that's like a half joke but half truth because you have to see like how they're feeling, like if they're comfortable interacting with other people.
Yeah.
Like
No,
get a gauge
absolutely.
on who they are as a person. So that's what I kind of did with Nova. I'm like, how is he as a person? Oh, he seems pretty chill. Talks a lot of shit, but like, I don't think he means half the shit that he said.
Right.
So I just basically reached out to him, going like, hey, just cut to the chase. Hey, I think you're cool. Let's do something together. How about drawing together? And I don't want it to be like a purely like business relationship or any of that, because I do genuinely think that he's cool and I want to become better friends, but I also kind of a little bit suck at socializing other than throwing a meme or two. But I'm also out of ammo when it comes to memes because I don't really look out for memes as much. But like,
Hey, me neither.
but in terms of like growth, it is like getting in contact with other people and having fun with other people, and then hoping maybe just a little crumb gets given to you. But it's never the main objective. It's just you having fun with people and hope that people are attracted to you having fun with your friend. Like, for
Yeah.
example, this.
I mean,
Like,
yeah,
that's the
no,
reason why I even started Stellar Broadcast with you, is the fact that I do enjoy sitting down and talking with you, and I want other people to see that as well.
oh, thank you.
Especially because you are a very incredible person that I'm not sure if you guys could notice, but this being the 9th one, I can't get him to shut up now.
You're trapped.
I was like, oh no, I fell into a pit. But
No,
no,
I've
it's fine.
I've definitely appreciated it. I don't get a lot of time or a lot of opportunity to kind of just spill all of this stuff that's just sitting around in my head. So this has been really great. And it's, I mean, it's helped me. It has inspired me to kind of go further in the stuff that I'm clearly interested in. Sometimes it's hard to convince yourself to do these things that you feel like you want to do, but also at the same time, like you kind of create these barriers sometimes. So yeah, this has kind of helped me with some of that. So
Just providing
I
some
do thank you for
reassurance to some of the things, that you do. Crazy bastards, stick together.
Yeah, yeah. But
Also,
yeah.
funnily enough, I think I might have spotted another potential crazy bastard.
Oh?
So you know Nova.
Oh yeah?
So the bastard has sat down and learned how to like go through Live 2D with
Mm.
like from what he tells me that he has not had much time to sit down and actually draw. He's a really slow drawer, but he does it really well, in my opinion,
Mm.
to someone who doesn't draw a whole lot. But he sat
Yeah.
down, has learned Live 2D all by himself, even to the point that he tried to speedrun and do it in an hour. The mad lad. Let's just say the model was something. And now he's planning on sitting down and learning Blender. And I'm like, oh, you're thinking about
Ooh.
making a 3D model, huh? You know, I could point you to Vroid, and he's like, nah, I'm gonna just learn Blender from scratch. And I'm just sitting here, like that meme of the guy with the handkerchief kind of tapping his forehead. Is like, oh no, good luck with that. Because I don't even have much of the patience for that at the moment. Because I'm managing so many other things at the same time as well.
Yeah.
So I
It's
think I might have seen another crazy bastard. Not only that, he does a lot of editing and videos as well for like his YouTube.
yeah. It does sound like he's part of the crazy bastard club.
It is starting to sound, especially with what he
Yeah.
said to me about learning Blender from scratch, and I'm like, oh my god. Good luck.
Blender is it's pretty cool. I had a whole progression. Maybe one of these days I'll talk about 3D modeling. Blender wasn't the first 3D modeling program I used. But I have a whole history that goes back to like Half-Life 2 modding.
Mm.
So maybe at a later date I can talk about some of that stuff.
Yeah, because to me, who's still kind of a complete beginner and kind of just does what she needs to for like making Vroid models just to barely work, doing something from scratch seems very difficult with the amount of tools that are just kind of shoved in your face. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know what any of this means. And then when I try looking up a tutorial, it's like 30 parts.
Yeah, I mean the thing with Blender, the thing with all 3D modeling programs, it's kind of like I mean the thing with everything, to be honest, but it's kind of like I mean it's like a language, right? Like once you learn one, you'll realize that a lot of the concepts are shared by different modeling programs and different like they share a lot of information. There's up front there's a barrier to entry, which is mostly interface related. I mean, there's a lot of button things, concepts that you have to learn about models and modeling and texturing and normals and all that stuff. But once you get like honestly the huge barrier is like traversing the interface. Like it's like learning how to draw, it's learning how to use a pencil. You know, you got to learn how to hold a pencil first before you start like writing things, right?
Or like learning a new drawing program, for example. Like it still has the fundamental basics of what you normally already do. You just like switching from pencil to pen.
Yeah. But like when you first start like actually that is good. When I started digital drawing, like it's super weird because it's not exact, right? Like it's not like pencil and paper. Even if you have a screen tablet, it's not the same, right? So there's a period of time where you just have to kind of get used to it and like kind of work through the awkwardness, and then once you get used to it, it's like second nature. You're like, all right, now it just feels like regular drawing. But like there's a curve, there's a learning curve to it that you have to kind of feel out.
I felt like I haven't gotten over that curve yet because my art still looks awkward digitally. So like even lately, as of now, including today, even when I was like, I need to draw something, I need to sketch something, but it still looks very intimidating to draw on like IBS Paint, for example. So I just went
Hmm.
back to good old pencil and paper and just continue to doodle on that of like concept drawings of like a little animation video that I'm planning on making.
Hmm.
Little story time animation, just like I wanted to when I was little. A little tiny star.
Aw.
But because I'm not gonna be doing it like full scale and it's supposed to be done for like comedy and simplicity, the little character that is representing me also needs to be simple with the most defining feature of myself, which is my hair. You know? So it's just
Hmm.
literally
Right.
like a little pawn, like your little pawn that just has my hair and headphones. Yep,
I can see it. I can
headphones.
see it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very simple, and I'm trying to make it also stylistic as well, just like a touch of stylism. So it isn't like every
Hmm.
other animation YouTuber where they also kind of make it look like a little pawn, like the little square body and then the stick legs and arms, or lack of arms.
Hmm. Yeah.
I already have the
Well.
script kind of like almost done, but
Hmm.
like I still need to work on the drawing aspect.
I wanna. Yeah. I mean, it's the life of a crazy bastard. You know.
The life of a crazy bastard. Actually, to give a little bit of a sneak peek, it's about the beach. Like that's the
Ooh. Okay.
concept of the what I'm doing because summer's coming up, so I'm just basically blabbing about my
Right.
experiences of the beach.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a plan at least. If I at least keep to one project and stop bouncing from another to another to another.
That is something I do have experience in myself. Um,
Mm.
and I think I might have talked about it a little bit. I have theories about that. I think that for me, there it's not always the case, but a lot of the time what kind of pushes me to bounce from a project is my expectations like growing far beyond my will or like my ambition. Like I might have the ambition to set out to create a small animation. But then when I start to kind of create the characters, when I start to kind of work on it, my expectations for that grow.
Mm.
And because of that, I kind of inadvertently dissuade myself from finishing it. Because at a certain point, the expectations grow so high that it's like, well, shit, you know?
Mm.
This is either going to take me like a year, which, if you're that passionate about it, valid, sure. But a lot of the time, I'm not like that. Like it's something that I want to make, sure, but it's not like my magnum opus, it's it's like
Mm.
I'll have projects that I'm like, this is a cool idea and I want to see it, but I would like to make something involving this that maybe take me a few weeks, maybe a month at most, Like I kind of just want like I almost want a proof of concept for myself. But a lot of the time, I do fall into the trap of having those expectations be something that is technically possible. Technically possible. But that's the thing with like technicalities, they don't really take into account like personal situation, the amount of time you have to spend on it, like how you feel in any given day. Like, you know, the best thing for me when it comes to actually finishing projects is kind of allowing myself to allowing the project to kind of mold around me instead of like molding myself to fit a project. You know, because you set out to do something, you have an idea to do it, but the specifics aren't really nailed down yet. There's some wiggle room there, and I think that at any opportunity you get, you should kind of manipulate that wiggle room to accommodate for yourself. Kind of personally, what you other than just kind of the broad strokes, kind of like what you want, you know? Because that does change as you progress. I mean, it change in large ways. Like, you still might be interested in the idea as a general concept, but intricately, how you feel about it does change as you progress and as you start to see it taking shape. And instead of like rigidly buckling down and being like, no, this is how it should be, it's best to kind of change with it in some ways, because your mind is kind of following the things that it that it's interested in naturally, and like there are definitely there are definitely situations where, you know, okay, it is time to buckle down, it is time to do this thing, but like when I did the first chapter of Nightmare Witch, which technically I feel like I was only able to really do that because I had like a long period of unbroken time that I could dedicate, like I could shape my day around making Nightmare Witch pages. That was fucking sweet. But in order for me to even get that far, I had to kind of like accept some things about myself. You know, kind of perfectionism, because perfectionism doesn't show up in the way that it sounds like it shows up. Like, it's not that you think you are perfect, or that you even think perfect or perfection is a possibility. It's that your expectations, like what you view, you've almost gaslit. Like, for me, it's like I've gaslit myself into thinking that like what perfection is just like what I should be doing, you know? Like oh well, this is just what is expected, like this is just what people do. And it's like, well, no, like this is actually like the perfect form of that. You know, like these things that you're talking about are the ideal, and realistically you're not gonna hit that every time you go up to bat. Like, you're not gonna hit that perfect thing every time you try. Like, every page isn't gonna be this like perfect crystalline thing. There are gonna be some pages that are gonna be worse than others. That's true for anything. Like, it may have a consistent style, may have a consistent, consistent characters, but I guarantee you that if you ask any artist or author, there are definitely pages where they're like, oh, this one kind of not as good as the other was. And then you as the viewer, you're like, well, it's the same. It's the same quality all throughout. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But I mean, that's one of those artist things, is that like your mood changes as you're making it, and what you fixate on changes, or is different than what an audience would fixate on. So the moral of all of that is just give yourself a break. Feel like a lot of the time when I don't finish something, it's because I'm not allowing myself to be uncertain. But yeah, I mean that also is kind of a magical part of it, is the uncertainty. So it is anxious. It is an anxiety-inducing part, and it can dissuade you. Sometimes even for good reasons. Like sometimes you don't make a thing because you actually didn't want to make it. Like that does happen. So, all you can do is just kind of like check in with yourself and be like, why do I want to make this thing? Like, what is it gonna do for me if I make this thing? Like those like common questions. There are a lot of times where I will just sit down and like write like that stuff. Like I will sit down and write out like, why do I want to do this? What is it gonna do for me? Like, if I do this, and it's not that like it needs to do much more than just be, a form of expression. You know what I mean? But if it is a form of expression, writing out that it is and what you're expressing and why is a hell of a motivator. So that also helps if you kind of have that, that habit of kind of jumping between different projects. Give it a little bit of personal time. Give the idea a little bit of personal time, and just write out how you feel about it and why you're interested in it. Because worst case scenario is you do jump away from this thing, but if you've written some stuff out and kind of processed these thoughts and why you're drawn to it, you then have a clearer idea of what drew you to it in the first place. And I guarantee you that core of an idea will just show up in another project, along with other ideas that you find appealing. And then eventually you just have a project that's just all ideas that you find super, super interesting at different aspects. And then it's like, well, it's a lot easier to finish a project like that. So yeah. Also scope. Like from a technical level, clearly defining a scope for your projects. Having things that are attainable, not just, again, it's that thing where you got to be realistic about yourself. Like there are things that are technically possible, and then there are things that are possible, right? Like it's like technically you could do this. You could be on that mangaka grind, technically. But it's not that realistic, It's like you're not doing it for a living, and you've got other things to, it's like, and even if you were, it would still be like a fucking huge amount of work. Like, yeah, it's like technically possible, but probably not what you want to, if you're doing it for yourself, like solely for yourself, probably not where you want to go with it. So yeah. I think I am afraid I may have to go.
What? Already?
Yeah, I gotta mosey on down to the bar and be sad. No, that's not what I'm gonna do.
No, at least send me a drink. Or share with me a drink.
I will.
Damn.
I will. You know. Yeah. Yeah. I'll bet you drink.
Yay! I want the finest drink Earth could ever offer.
Yeah, it'll be a Bean Boozle drink.
I was actually thinking chalky milk, but that works too, I guess.
Chalky milk. Chalky milk in a wine glass? No, in a martini glass.
In a
Just like-
martini glass. Oh my god, that would look cursed. You know what I want to try? I want to try a s'mores drink. It's like not natural alcohol, but
Oh.
like chocolate milk, a little bit of like marshmallow in it, graham cracker dust.
Yo, that I want. I'm gonna make that. I don't care. Yeah, I'm gonna make it happen.
It is in season.
I don't know. It's in season. I don't know what I'm gonna put in there. Chocolate probably. Marshmallow maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, chocolate, marshmallow, and graham crackers.
Yeah, but to make it a drink.
I know it's been done.
There's like you could do like a s'more milkshake.
That
I've seen
sounds
that.
good.
Yeah.
But to touch upon lastly of this for my own self, or in terms of project making,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like whenever I try to do any project, I put down all the things that I need to do, and then it seems too big to like do, too large, and then I kind of just slowly feel like I don't want to do anymore. Like the film project I asked you about like a while ago, I kind of just slowly gave up on that because I'm like, that's not of importance right now.
Yeah.
And then just put that on the
Yeah.
shelf, as well as literally everything else I've put on the shelf.
Yeah. No, it's that's the thing though. Like you build it up into such an effort that then it becomes a liability. You're like, well, I have other shit to do, like there are other, like you said, like there's other things that you could be doing. Yeah, I mean, that's where scope helps. Like that's where like defining and keeping it, having expectations that aren't as large, and it's hard because it's like when you're thinking about a finished project, you're thinking like, this is what I want to put out to the world, like this is what I want people to see. And then like that's where there's like this little bit of ego, a little bit of perfectionism into play, because it's like, this is what this has to be seen by the world, and in order to kind of avoid that, you do kind of have to recenter your expectations based around just your life individually, what you're feeling, and try and take this stuff, because again, like I was saying before, everything that you kind of come up with, every project that you want to make, there is a core, like there is a reason that you want to do that. And part of what kind of figuring that out or distilling that helps with is paring projects down, because it's like, okay, well, if the thing that I'm really interested in, like, if I really like to, if the part of a music video that really kind of gets me interested is like the process of cutting clips to a song. Then maybe I find like a portion of a song, a shorter song, you know, like different, like things like that, where it's like, yeah, you have this like whole project, but, and again, like I'm only suggesting these things because like I don't know specifically like what draws you to the project, you know, like what is kind of the thing that pulls you to it. I don't know that. But whatever that specifically is for you, because sometimes, and I've found this to be true for some of my projects, sometimes it's not even the medium, like it's not even the thing, you know what I mean? But I'll kind of put myself in like a container, you know, I put myself in like, okay, well, this needs to be a game, or this needs to be a, you know, like stuff like that. When in reality, like it could be whatever. So it really just depends. But ultimately, it needs to fit with how you are right now. The other thing with specifically with drawing, when you draw a comic, you're not studying, you know, like the only thing you're improving at when you're drawing a comic is how to draw like your characters. You're not really like improving your drawing ability as a whole. You can do that in between drawing a comic, you know, you can do that like on your own agency, but you have to kind of know that when you're drawing a comic, like what to expect. Your perception of your art may change as you're drawing a comic, and you may be like, well, actually, I'm not happy with the way I draw these things anymore. But in order to press on with drawing the comic, you kind of have to accept that for a bit, you know? Like, you kind of have to, like maybe you get to a point where you can have, like, a hiatus to do some studies and, you know, level up your art game. But in the process of drawing a comic, like, you're not really improving, and that's fine. Like, you don't need to always be improving. That's, you know, that's the other thing. You kind of have to kind of, when you're setting out to make a project, the point of the project is the project. Everything else can change, like later on, or between. Like, all of that stuff can be addressed in those moments, but in the moment of creating the comic, as you're doing that, you have to kind of accept it for what it is. Like, you're trying your best, because if you care about it, you are. That's a given. You know what I mean? You wouldn't be doing it if you weren't trying, you know? I think that that's also really important to remember, is that, like, if you care about it, you know, you're gonna put in effort to make it. It may not meet your highest expectations. You will get there. But, you know, from the get-go, like, there's gonna be a process. Like, there's gonna be a period of time even if it's your own designs where you suck, and you have to kind of accept that in order to get past that part of it. And it can be hard to do that if you self-esteem stuff, if you have like the whole, I mean, go get into psychology, the whole ego, the perfectionism, all of that stuff does make it hard. And again, it's like it's something that everybody has, like people use it kind of pejoratively, the term ego. Like it's not necessarily, because when you say that word, you think about like someone with like an upturned nose and they're just snooty, like but that's not what it is at all. Like if you're a human being, like you take space in this world, you know what I mean? And you have expectations that you have for yourself that are based around your environment, your society, like all of that stuff that kind of contributes to the sense of ego. So, and you have to recognize that, like, you have this in yourself. So then, once you kind of understand, like again, like I was telling you with the whole like perfectionism thing, how it kind of is like insidious, how it's not shown up as I need to be perfect. It's shown up as I need to be good enough. You know what I mean? Like that's what the feeling feels like. From the outside looking at it, someone's like, geez, dude, like you don't need to be perfect. But from the inside, you're just like, I'm just trying to survive, like
Yeah. I guess you can just say that I'm just a little bit fearful of starting projects and going through all that. But I do think we should probably put an end to it soon. But there's one last question I need to ask you that is related to fear. Next week, on Tuesday, the next Stellar broadcast of doing the Bean Boozle challenge. You mentioned about doing something like kind of quick to like, go through it. So I have two options. We could either play Google Feud. You know what that is?
I don't.
So basically, you choose like a category, and then it shows you a bunch of stuff of like from Google searches of like a sentence, and you basically have to fill in the blank, and however many you type in, you get like points and all that.
Okay.
Or something probably more funner and easier to manage, higher or lower.
Higher or lower?
Yeah, and that also has its own well, what's it called? Like categories and stuff, like from Google movies and TV, Spotify, sports, Olympics, celebrity, geography, video games, richest people, YouTube, cars, books, websites, Reddit, Pokemon, TikTok, Instagram, Lego, My Anime List, etc.
Okay.
So in other words, it'd be just basically you and me saying, is this thing higher or lower? I think this one's higher. And my idea for this is the fact that if we both get it, if like one of us gets it wrong, we have to take a bean. If both of us gets it wrong, we both have to take a bean. If someone gets it right,
like
they don't get it at, they don't have to take a bean. If both of us are right, neither of us have to take a bean.
I'm into it. Higher or lower sounds like a winner to me.
All right. And if need be, we can add some spice into it, like who says it first. If need be, if we aren't consuming enough beans.
Yeah, we have a lightning round. Yeah.
Lightning round. If anything, I might need to go buy another can of Bean Boozled just in case. Not to have like double, but in the case that I don't feel safe consuming your old
Right.
can of Bean Boozled jelly beans.
Understandable. Understandable.
Yeah.
Well,
So higher and lower.
it has been a higher and lower is good for me. Yeah, no, it was fun having you in, man. Like hanging out, we just chilling. There's no expectations. I know this is this is Robin's stream, but allow me to speak
Yeah.
for you.
I mean, that's what you've been doing most of the time.
Um,
But go ahead, speak for me.
okay, I'll speak for you. Maybe I need to be a little less talkative. But I don't, you don't have to talk. It's
It's
okay.
okay, you're my clone. You already know what I'm thinking.
Well, I'm talking about is it Caliviz?
Yeah,
You know,
I think it's
trying to be-
Kelly Viz.
I think it'd be cool, hang out. But that's the thing. You being here makes you a good viewer.
Exactly.
Everything else is just bonus. It's all good.
Kofi Bucko, but this is not the time. Thank you. But I'm just grateful that you're here, Kelly. Viz. Like whether you talk or not, that's completely fine. So long as you're chilling, vibing, having a good time, that's all that matters to me. And if you stick around, I'd be very grateful for that. So thank you so much for stopping by. That goes for everyone that stopped by in the stream. I will do as such. Thank you, thank you. And this is the end for us for tonight. Should I raid someone?
Who are you gonna raid?
I don't know. I mean, Adrian Shepard is streaming right now.
Oh, Shepard. What's he streaming?
He's at the Lying Fork right now. And VR Chat RP.
Gotcha.
I could
Shepard's chill.
I could raid him.
Yeah.
I love how I
Shepard's
just
chill.
pop
VR chat
into
RP.
I just pop into a stream and I just see him looking up to like a very gorgeous woman. I'm like, damn.
It's fun. It's a rabbit hole. You know, if you're not familiar with VR chat RP, I would say check it out. It's actually pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. We're not obsessed. Not at all, no. No.
Definitely not obsessed. Definitely not something that I, look forward to every week.
To which that's where we're gonna be tomorrow. Well, at least I'm gonna be.
Yeah, no, I should be there as well.
Yeah. Speaking of which, did you install your temporary legs?
I did. I do have poses
Okay.
that I can strike.
Cool. Good. I'm gonna raid Adrian now. Oh my god. My phone's telling like an alarm tripped.
Well,
But yeah, I'm gonna send y'all over to him now. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
And